All right, so let's talk about time and the importance of it. Time for me is at the top of my list of those things that are important because once it's spent, you cannot get it back. Time for me is equally as important because to me it equates to life. So for every minute of time, that's 1 minute of your life. So as you spend time, you are spending your life. And that's what I consider whenever I decide who I'm going to spend my time on or with, or what projects or work related things that I'm going to do that requires my time. So think about it. Like, do you set time as a priority in your life, as one of those things that you cherish, as one of those things that you protect whenever you are considering whom you're going to spend your life with or whom you're going to spend your time with, whether it be people that you're dating, people at work, your coworkers, your family, whether they be your actual biological family or just friends who you may have drawn a strong connection with. Consider thinking about the importance of time because over years, we tend to waste a lot of time. We waste a lot of time on unnecessary things, on people who simply just don't deserve our time, our energy. So think about it. Like, let me know. Do you ever really have you ever just stopped and thought about, you know what? I've spent and wasted so much time on this person or on this group of people. Time is precious. It is one of those commodities that cannot be bought. Once it's spent, you cannot get it back. And again, the same thing with life. Once time in your life, once a year or a second or a minute or whatever has passed in your life, you cannot get that back. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care, how popular you are, how famous you are. You cannot get that back. One thing about time is that it is very valuable. That is one thing that's for sure. You can bet your bottom dollar on the fact that time is going to be the most valuable commodity that anyone will ever possess. And the beauty of it is we all have the same amount of time in a day that the next person has. So that makes you wonder if there are people who are actually spending their 24 hours that they have in a day to really be productive, to make something happen, to achieve that goal or to just get that much closer to that goal, that end result that they have or that they're looking for. What are you doing with your time? So again, it's only 24 hours in a day, right? So let's see if we can shift this towards relationships now. Let's go back to the matters of the heart when it comes to time. Let's go to life issues and life obstacles when it comes to time. Too often we spend and waste too much time in a relationship that we know, whether we are telling it to ourselves or whether it's that gut feeling that, you know what, I am wasting time with this person. I am wasting time with this woman. I am wasting time with this man. And I need to stop. I need to get out of this situation because it is not conducive to my life. It's not conducive to my mental health. It's not conducive to my physical or emotional health. But yet, for some reason, we still decide to stay and we still decide to just continue to allow that time being in that relationship with that person to expire, to just continue to run out. And I'm sure that most of us, or many of us, and especially myself, we can look back on a relationship or even a couple of relationships and say, man, like I wasted too much time. And that can equate to a decade. That can equate to 5 years, 2 years, 6 months. And when you look back and you just really think about it and you break it down to the bare minimum, you take it back to the most simplest form, that was unnecessary time being wasted that you cannot get back. And why do we do that? That's a question that we ask ourselves, or so many people ask themselves, is why? when we're in the moment, when we're in the relationship, we have our heart, our emotions, our mental space all tied into that particular person or that relationship and everything that's involved with it. And for some reason, we find it hard to get out. We find it hard to let go. We find it hard to say, you know what, enough is enough. We find it hard to say those things or to put a stop to it sooner rather than later. Why is that? And those are the unhealthy relationships. Those are the ones that make us cry. Those are the relationships that make us dread going home. The relationships that have us looking forward to having to go to work the next day. You know, why do we do that? What is it? Why is it that those unhealthy relationships have such a stronghold on us, on our mental space, on our emotional space? Why? And it's so unhealthy for us, but that typically is because of other habits, other things that we have allowed to happen, other situations, other types of people who are similar to that particular person whom we're in a relationship with. They have similarities. And so we tend to go and migrate towards, or we are typically attracted to those things that are familiar to us, those people that have the same or similar behaviors of what we've always known, of what we only know, of what we've only been exposed to. And just naturally as humans, we tend to go to those things that are relatable, to those things that are common, to those things that we can that yeah, I don't know another way to say it other than, going back around those people or being with those people that are very like what we've already experienced. They have like personalities, or they have like behaviors or habits, or the way that they talk or the way that they treat us. And it's like anything that's foreign or different, we tend to shy away from, or we tend to maybe be a little afraid of experiencing that newness, experiencing that thing that is different. Because why? We don't know. Because of that fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing what it will do, not knowing how it will make us feel, not knowing how we're going to navigate it. It's literally that fear of the unknown. So we will end up staying in an unhealthy situation, an unhealthy relationship, because we are familiar with how to navigate it. Unfortunately, we are familiar with how to react to someone else's reactions. We are familiar with, okay, this person has a temper, or this person is going to lash out about this, or this person is just going to simply have an attitude about that. And we've had practice, so to speak, in quote unquote practice of how to deal with it, how to handle it, because, okay, we've seen it, we've been there, we've done that. And it's kind of like we've had, like I said, we've had practice with how to take care of it, practice with how to handle it, practice with how to respond to it. And although it's unhealthy, and although it's painful and emotionally draining and mentally draining, we will still tend to stick with that person, stick in that situation, just to make sure that we do not go to this new territory, this unfamiliar territory, this territory that actually may be much better for us, that may be much healthier for us, all because of that unknown. So we have to get out of our own way. That is a classic example of us being in our own way and not allowing ourselves to literally just do better and make better decisions that are more logical, that make sense, that when you break it down to the bare bone, it just makes more sense to leave that type of environment, that unhealthy environment, that violent environment, and go to something that's more calm, safer, and more peaceful. So, one thing that I challenge you to do is to just pause and take a moment to think back, whether it's your current situation or a situation or relationship that you've been in before. Just pause for a moment and say, am I afraid to leave this person or leave this relationship because of it being familiar to me? Because it being what I know, what I've only known? If that's you, if that's the case, consider redoing what you've been doing in order to look out for yourself, in order to look out for your well-being, in order to improve your quality of life moving forward. Reach out to me. Contact me. Go to my website, coachnrgy.com. That's Nrgy, coachnrgy.com. My email address is there. And let's get the conversation started. If you have questions on how do you leave? How do you get out of a situation or just relationships or habits that that's all you know? So if you have questions on how to do it, please reach out to me, reach out to someone else who is a good example, a positive example of, not being or not getting caught into those habits as well. Reach out for help. My contact information, you can find everything on coachnrgy.com. Follow me on Facebook. My Facebook group name is Coach Nrgy, or my page name is Coach Nrgy. And you can find me on YouTube as well at Coach Nrgy. So again, on any of those locations, any of those platforms, you will be able to locate my contact information. Email me, direct message me, do whatever you have to do as far as sending me your contact information so we can get the process started, so we can first just figure out what, when, where, and why did this all begin. So once again, this is Coach Nrgy, you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Giving Life to Life podcast right here on your station. So stay tuned next week for yet another episode. Take care.